air travel carrying a firearm and the do's and don'ts and just what I've experienced. I have never flown with a firearm until today, and what I flew with was an AR-15, a Glock Model 17, a Mark II 22 Ruger, and about 500 rounds of ammunition. So, you know, and a lot of knives and other things, and a bunch of camouflage, and I looked like I don't know what, but I wasn't wearing it in the airport, of course. But just got here at our destination, and just wanted to kind of give you an idea of what to expect when you go to an airport with your firearms. Now, once you tell them at the checkout counter, then you just write out a little form saying, you know, that you have a firearm in there, and then they take it to the guys that actually TSA inspects it, and they didn't even look at my rifle case. They just threw it on there and let it roll, and I guess they scanned it, but they didn't look in it because they have to ask for the lock, and ask for the key to unlock it, and then they have to give you the key back. They cannot retain the key. So and then I got all the way, I was getting ready to go in to the terminal, and they called me back because they needed the key to check the bag that had the ammunition. But honestly, it was just no big deal. They were very friendly. Everybody was just like, no big deal. And a lot of people saw me in the airport and were asking me, said, "Is that a gun in there?" And I'd say, "Yeah." And then they'd say, "You going hunting?" And I'd say, "Well, no." And but just very nice. Everybody was, there wasn't any kind of crazed looks or anything. And now here I am lugging around a Glock and an AR-15 and a bunch of stuff. It's pretty funny. But the flight was really good. And what's even worse is we were on standby. So I was like waiting till everybody got in, and then if there was a cancellation for somebody else, they'd throw me on the plane. And you talking about nerve-wracking to know that my guns and stuff were out there, and I didn't know if they were coming on the plane or not. But I got here, and everything was here. Everything was very quick. In fact, they brought the guns to me separate. It was a separate deal, and they came out and put it in the office, and then I picked it up from there, so it wasn't just at the regular baggage claim. But the ammunition it was just rolling around in there. But that's just some things that you'll notice when you fly. But to be honest with you, unless it's a different part of the country, and unless it's you've got some other issues going on, it was a very seamless thing. So I wouldn't be afraid again anytime to fly. In fact, I'm going to be flying back to North Carolina, and we went to Phoenix and then came here, which here is top secret. And if I told you, I'd have to kill you, so I can't tell you. But we're here, and just kidding for those of you who don't have a sense of humor. And then I'm flying right back, and so when I do, I really feel like it'll be the same thing. If I have some other problems, I will address those on an upcoming video. So anyway, the flight was great. It was long. I'm glad to be here in the hotel. Now, this is the bag that I had the ammunition in. You can only have 11 pounds of ammunition from most of the airlines that I checked out. 11 pounds, which, really is a lot more than you'd think. There's a lot more ammunition than you'd think. I had 300 rounds of 223 and 100 rounds of 9mm, and it was right about 11 pounds. But you have to have a little lock to secure for ammunition especially. Now here's the box that I had my ammo stored in. And as you can see, it has the Transportation Security Administration, or the TSA, has inspected this box. But I knew that already because she had asked for the key. And then I also had this little notice right here. Okay, to fly with a firearm, you have to have it in a hard shell case. And this is a hard shell case. I have not opened it yet. But the locks, there were 4 locks on here, and you're not supposed to be able to even pry it open. That's under TSA regulations. But here it is, and we're going to check it out. Here are the locks that I bought. It was a set of 4 and 2 keys, all the same lock. Makes it really simple. One thing you want to do is retain your key. TSA is not supposed to keep your key.
if they need to get in the case, they're supposed to call you and you're supposed to unlock it. So you have to keep your key on you or a combination at all times. When I got it, all of these little tabs were popped up, but it was still locked in here. Now, for a little extra, I did pack my camo in here. As you can see, okay, everything looks pretty decent. Of course, we're going to find out on Monday. This is Saturday night. We are all getting together, all the guys, for the TMP shoot, and we're going to have dinner tomorrow night, which is Saturday night, and then Sunday night we're going to have dinner, and then Monday night we're going to have the sledgehammer. So this looks good.
Okay, guys, just to recap everything, what happens is you bring in your case. It has to be locked when you bring it up to the checkout, and you hand it to her and you tell her immediately, you say there are firearms in this case. I had the ammunition packed separately. You don't have to, but it really needs to be in the box, in the manufacturer's box. It can't be loose. It can't be loaded in magazines either. So I just pack mine separately just to keep it separate, and keeping it under 50 pounds, because I know it's like $50 if it goes over 50 pounds, which really those rifles and everything, I think they were around $20 for the rifles and the guns.
Now, I'm back at home, and here is the case that I flew with. One of the important things, it has to be a hard case. It has to be lockable. In fact, you shouldn't be able to pry it in any place. One thing I liked about this case was it had area for 4 locks. So it made it really difficult to have it pried open. In fact, when I first got it from the airport, all of these were just popped open, and I guess that was from the TSA checking it to make sure. This never went into any other hands outside of TSA and the baggage handlers. I even saw them unloading it on one of the planes. Watched them, and they did a good job. But like I say, they were open. But it has to be a hard case, has to be locked. A buddy of mine had one of the squared off ones that I really thought about buying, but this was more in my budget after spending the money that I'd spent. So I was kind of dubious a little bit about it, but it held up extremely well. And actually his from the last flight had a big hole in it where something had gone through it. But we're going to open this up and take a look at it. Now if you'll notice, this is a firearms declaration form. You fill it out, and it has your name and address on the back, and then you just place it in here. I turned this one upside down for obvious reasons. But that just goes and lets them know, in case there's any problem, that they can find your information in here. Now for me, I put these ACU pants, because what I did was I first loaded it and then turned it up on its side, and I could hear some movement. So I put these pants in here to just keep it adjusted, just keep it from moving around. So let's see what we did. And actually on the flight out there I did the same. Okay, as you can see, everything seems to be pretty decent. That shifted some, but no big deal. Looks like everything looks good. Of course, we'll find out. I'll do a little test firing on this system to see how it re-zeros. When I flew out, of course, and I probably mentioned this already, but the zero was really close to where it was when I left. And so there was just a little bit of adjustment, but no big deal. But you'll want to check your zero if you do fly, because they don't guarantee that you'll have the same zero. After the experience that I've had, I wouldn't have any reservations on flying with a firearm again. In fact, as long as I'm going to a gun-friendly state, I will definitely be carrying my handgun for self-defense. Now, one thing that I want to give you a little tip on is this book. And One Step Too Far, who has a great channel, who actually was the one who shot with us at TMP, gave this book to me as a gift. And this is the Traveler's Guide to the Firearms Laws of the 50 States. And this was produced by a lawyer, J. Scott Kappas, who I'm going to give you some of the information on this. One Step Too Far did an excellent video on this book. And I'll do a video on this also as well coming up. But just a great source if you're traveling at all, just to the next state. You need to know their laws. And that way you'll know the responsible way to carry a firearm and what to do. I live now in South Carolina, where you're supposed to keep you can have a loaded gun in your glove compartment closed. But I just came from North Carolina, where that would be considered concealed carry or concealed weapon in your glove compartment, and you're supposed to have it out on the seat or somewhere where if they look inside they can see the gun easily. So, these are two gun-friendly states but have totally different laws. So you need to check this out. Like I said, I'm going to do a review on this coming up shortly. So just keep that. But I'll also have One Step Too Far's channel, so you need to go to that and check this video out. It's excellent. Plus, One Step Too Far is just a great guy in himself. So, but like I said, there's no need to have any fear of flying. I know I got a lot of video responses and comments saying, man, I don't know if I'd fly that way. Dude, you're in trouble. There's no telling what they're going to do to you and all this stuff. I was carrying a AR-15 rifle with 30-round magazines with a lot of ammunition, carrying a Glock with a lot of high-cap magazines, or like a lot of guys like to say, regular cap magazines, and with knives, multi-tools, all the different gear that I would need on this TMP adventure. So, again, I would not have any hesitation to fly with a firearm. It just really wasn't that big of a deal. So, just want to give you, an update on flying with your firearm. Please subscribe for more fun gun reviews and sensible survival. God bless America. Long live the Republic.